Do you remember when we had a president who wasn't embarrassing? And look, I say this, that actually wasn't me being partisan like I normally am, and I don't pretend to be non-partisan, bipartisan. No. I'm very, very partisan. I'm as anti-communist as it gets. But the thing is, it's so embarrassing having a guy as commander-in-chief who you cringe whenever you hear he's giving public comments. Like today, anniversary 9/11, and Joe Biden is not in New York City. That's a very normal thing for presidents to do. They go to New York City or they go to the Pentagon, give a speech at the site where the crashes were and whatnot. And it's supposed to be kind of this big deal, this little mini scandal that Joe Biden isn't there. Joe Biden stopped over in Alaska to say a couple words. And we're supposed to act like, oh, no, he should be in New York City. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think I agree. Why do we want him in New York City? Why do we want him anywhere? Joe Biden's not a functional adult, and it's embarrassing when he talks. And it gets really embarrassing when he goes overseas. And let me explain something to you about why this happens, about how this happens, I guess I should say. Okay, one, you know any older folks with dementia? Have you ever known somebody like that, maybe a relative? It's a very sad thing. It's a very sad thing when, forget dementia aside, you start to get old and start to deteriorate. You're not doing as well anymore. All right, so that's an older person. They need a lot of rest. They need a lot of rest and a lot of care. And they need to be in restful environments that gives them their best days. When they're in rest, care, restful environments, they have their best days. When they don't rest, agitated, not resting, not sleeping, they get really bad. Well, here's the thing about overseas travel. I've done a little bit of it, not a ton, not some world traveler, but I've done a little bit of it a few times in the Marine Corps and otherwise. And even when you're young and fit, overseas travel is exhausting. I was tired for a couple days. The time changes, you're all screwed up. I know Joe Biden gets to travel on Air Force One. I know he's got a fancy bed on there, not 5-star hotels. No, I get it. But it's still exhausting. And this is why Joe Biden, as much as he embarrasses himself at home, somehow is even worse when he has to travel overseas.
Let's see. I'm just following my orders here. Staff, if anybody haven't spoken to, no, I ain't calling on you. I'm calling on, I said I had 5 questions. Anita from VOA.
That's the President of the United States of America. I just hang on, I'm following my orders here. How utterly embarrassing. That's the commander-in-chief. And that whole thing I just talked about tired, needing to go to bed, well, it's bad enough he's so old. It's even worse that he, frankly, got pretty honest about it there towards the end.
Anyway, I just think that there are other things on leaders' minds, and they respond to what's needed at the time. And look, nobody likes having celebrated international meetings if you don't know what you want at the meeting, if you don't have a game plan. He may have a game plan. He just hasn't shared it with me. But I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go to bed.
All right, so that brings us to another conversation we can have really quickly here. You see, there's something about politics that makes me laugh. It always makes me laugh. The predictability of what I'm about to say makes me laugh. Politicians, when it comes to running for president, and not just politicians, actually, anybody, but mostly politicians are the ones that run for president, when they're planning on running for president, they do this for many offices, I should know, but president's the worst offender. Whenever they're planning on running, they always, Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter who they are, they always insist they're not running. It's the most universal truth in the world. all of them do this without end. They all do the exact same thing. They follow the exact same steps. The reporters start sticking a microphone in their face. Hey, are you going to run for office? No, I'm no interest. No, I'm not running. Stop asking me. I cannot be president. I have no desire. Not going to be running. And that always takes place about 15 minutes before step 2, where they step up to the podium and do the, well, I wasn't going to run. As you know, I said I wasn't going to run. Bob, you remember I said it. But then all these people have been begging me to run. And like Cincinnatus, I feel a duty to answer the call and run for president. Gavin Newsom's on step 1 as we speak.
Filing deadlines haven't passed. President Biden doesn't run. Why shouldn't we consider you a likely candidate?
I think the vice president is naturally the one lined up, and the filing deadlines are quickly coming to pass. And I think we need to move past this notion that he's not going to run. President Biden is going to run, and looking forward to getting him reelected. I think there's been so much wallowing in the last few months and hand-wringing in this respect, but we're gearing up for the campaign. We're looking forward to it.
But you hear these calls privately. What do you tell these donors who are wallowing in this?
Time to move on. Let's go.
Yeah. Time to move on. What a guy, right? What a guy. Look, he's telling them it's time to move on. He doesn't even want to be president. He's not even interested. He even tried to do the thing where he's like, hey, man, it's obviously Dome. I'm all about Dome.
And am I supposed to interpret that comment about the vice president that if for some reason the president chose not to run at this point,
well, that's the
everybody rallies around her?
It's the Biden-Harris administration. Maybe I'm a
You
little
respect
old-fashioned.
that. Yeah,
Maybe I'm a little old-fashioned about presidents and vice presidents. I was a lieutenant governor, so I'm a little subjective.
It's your relationship with the vice president.
We knew each other before we were both in politics. The day I got sworn in as mayor, walked across the street. She got sworn in as district attorney. Extraordinarily close working relationship, including her time in the Senate.
So you can't imagine ever having to run against each other?
Of course not. By definition, won't happen.
Of course not. We're so close. Gosh, we're practically like this. We're best friends. We're sworn in together. My goodness, we would never. Yeah, if Joe Biden does do what I've been claiming he's going to do forever, now I've been telling you I think he's going to resign for health reasons, of course, Gavin Newsom will be in the race in about 5.5 seconds. And that little clip he just gave about, best friends, I love Dome, we're super close, will be long, long, long forgotten. I know how this works. But let's say he doesn't. Let's say he really bows out. Maybe the donors push him away. Sorry, we got to have Dome. Well, America can just prepare itself for this person being president of the United States of America. I have great news. If you enjoyed that, I have a YouTube channel you can subscribe to. Whatever I do, it'll be right there on YouTube. So go subscribe today.